To Money Talks with Attorney Coral. This is Attorney Coral Pleas, the host of your show. Thank you so much for joining us here on WNOV Radio for the Money Talk Show. We are at 8:60 a.m., 106.5 FM every Thursday from 11 till noon. And this show is sponsored by Columbia Savings and Loan Association. So thank you, Columbia, for sponsoring this show every week. I am delighted to have one of the board of directors from Columbia Savings and Loan Association in the studio with me this morning. I have Dr. Mose Fuller right next to me.
Hey.
Dr. Fuller, say hello to the people.
Hello, how's everyone doing out there? Wet, soaked Milwaukee, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's exactly the Milwaukee that it's been this week. I don't know, Doc. Now that you mentioned that, and since you are a pastor, so I have to say something here. I haven't seen storms quite like these before.
Yeah, well, that sign God is telling us we better straighten up.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So, the thing that we can't do is what we want to do. Because, no matter who we think is in control, God is ultimately in control of everything.
That's right.
So he can cause something like this to happen. And a lot of people lost a lot of stuff.
Right.
But I don't think, I might have missed it, but I don't think that anyone actually lost their lives.
I'm glad about that.
Yeah, you can always get stuff back,
Mhm.
but you can't get a life back. So I don't think that anyone died. So that's a good thing. But at the same time, we keep those people in prayer that lost everything. I mean, I got water in my basement, but it wasn't that bad. I got water in the basement of the church, but thank God the sump pump was working.
Mhm.
So it was able to suck the water out after it quit raining.
Mhm.
But while it was raining, the pump was overwhelmed
Right.
by the amount of water that came into the buildings.
Right.
And so we just thank God that we didn't lose, a whole lot, and we'll keep those folks in prayer that lost everything.
Right. Yeah.
Not some of that stuff, but everything.
Yeah. Some of it was bad. I mean, when I saw people's cars floating down the street
Gee,
in the news, and then even the next day out driving around and cars just right in the middle of the street where they stalled.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have been talking about it all week, but this is just my first chance to, get on here and have something to say. Jermaine, what do you want to say about this?
Well, I mean, I was watching it from the comfort of my hotel room in Miami.
Oh, yeah. He's rubbing that in our face.
Hey, keep bringing that in.
Playing all
I
in
heard
the
this on the
face,
radio
man.
talking about that.
B ain't no good.
Boy,
I ain't no good.
no, you ain't right.
No, but as I was watching all this stuff happening, I was thinking about all of those cars that's parked underneath in these parking structures in these apartment buildings, and if you didn't have insurance,
Oh man,
how much trouble you are in going forward to lose your money maker that's going to get you to the money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And not have the insurance is like yikes.
Mhm. Yeah, I was thinking about that too, because I saw that, and especially, you're looking at me right now, Jermaine, because I deal with auto claims. I deal with injury claims and auto accidents and all of that sort of thing, and how key that insurance piece is. And that's just it. It's for a time like this, like when you least expect it. That's when you'll need it. So it is so important to have that coverage for your auto, or even the people who were renters that maybe they weren't in a home that they owned and lost things. So even a policy of renters insurance is so important. And I know like people say, oh, I can't afford, but what can you afford to lose everything? That's really the question. So no, that's a real important piece. So I'm with you, Doc Fuller. Just prayers out to everybody who's kind of been struggling through all of that this past week.
It really is devastating. And then the thing of it is, you're not in a flood zone, or you was in a flood zone, and so all of a sudden that was changed, and so you can have insurance, but if you don't have the right type of insurance,
Mm-hmm.
that's the devastating part.
Right.
And like insurance adjusters and insurance companies, man, they do not want to pay.
Right.
That's just a fact. They don't want to pay nothing.
Right. Nope, they hire attorneys.
They don't want to pay.
And yeah, whose specialty is insurance defense, as mine was for a number of
Yeah.
years. So, but I left the dark side. Right now, I'm about helping the people.
Helping the people.
Helping the people.
You know, and that's kind of like what all of this stuff with banking and stuff like that. It's money. But it don't come. Everything we talking about with that insurance, I was looking at that, and it's really devastating when you think about it. The bottom line is, you got insurance, but you don't have the right type of insurance. It all comes down to money.
Right. And you sell insurance, right?
Yeah, I do insurance. Yeah.
So one of these days, we're going to have you come on and just talk about different products that are available for people.
Yeah.
I think that will be very educational so that people can understand, the different types of insurance, the different types of coverage, what types may be more important for you depending upon where you live, and all those different factors that come into play when we're talking about insurance. We need to start laying that out, for people's understanding.
Because the bottom line is this: when you listen to people talk, see, insurance is your environment of safety. Insurance keep you from going broke. Because if you got insurance, it's gonna cover the debt.
Right.
I mean, how many people got $100,000 laying around? These houses,
not
50,000, 60,000.
Right.
Your whole basement is wiped out. The structure of your house, the foundation of your house is gone.
Right.
You need another house. You got to get that fixed. If you don't have insurance, it ain't. Unless you got a lot of money laying around, it ain't gonna happen.
Right.
So that's the base of insurance. I guess insurance creates an estate, so to speak, creates a foundation, a good, solid financial foundation.
Right.
And that's what we all need.
Right. No, that's important though. And you never know how important until you need it.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen.
Anything.
So even, and I'll just say, this, and I know we have another agenda of things that we wanted to talk about today, but even with, at my house, about, I don't know, late May sometime, there was a storm that was kind of a powerful Sunday night storm. It wasn't as bad as what we went through last weekend, but just out of nowhere, this storm came and lightning struck a tree in my front yard, which was a large maple tree, probably about 80 feet tall. So it's an old tree. It's been around a long time. Split it right down the middle.
Right down.
And half the tree fell and covered and blocked my street. So I had to call the city to come and move, the tree because cars couldn't pass. Right. And the other half landed on my neighbor's house. Wow. Not even my house. Landed on my neighbor's house.
Whoa. So your neighbor was okay, weren't they?
Yeah, they were okay, thankfully.
Thank God.
And there wasn't really even that much damage to their home, but the damage that was there was no fault of their own. Right. They were very innocent bystanders. And of course, I had no control over the tree either, but that's just what happened. So, okay, but it looks like we do have a couple calls that want to weigh in. Caller, thank you so much for holding. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Excellent topic. Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you.
So
perfectly.
Did your insurance pick up for that tree, or did they give you a hard time?
No, they actually picked up for the tree after my deductible, of course. So I ended up having to spend a little, but the cost of clearing that tree and doing everything that needed to be done with that was well above and beyond the deductible. So they did agree to reimburse.
I am just so frustrated. I know that no lives were lost, and that's the number one thing. Yep. But when you're paying into your homeowner's insurance for 20 years without a claim ever, no car claims, no home claims, and then something like this happens, and your agent to tell you, I got 45,000 customers. I can't just, specialize in your policy only to make sure you got everything you need. And I'm like, but sir, you tried hard to sell us life insurance, umbrella insurance. Why wouldn't you at that time suggest flood or sewer insurance to make sure that we had the priority coverage that was needed? You think I got time to look at your product? I mean, he literally said that, and I was so disappointed, where to the point I told my husband, we're switching agents. Yep. I'm done. Yeah. I want to support the black man. I want to support the friend. But when you treat us just like any old number, when it comes down to a life-threatening situation like this, with a loyal customer that has never filed a claim, you don't even offer suggestions for us to, have just cutthroat. It wasn't in your policy.
Wow.
It's a big scam. It is a huge scam, and I'm just tired of the industry. We see on the news the Miller Park has rain coming through it, and it's American Family Insurance Company. Why do we care about that ballpark when you got so many Milwaukee residents that's going through situations right now? So it just makes me, again, when I get over this, just to go through and just see what you're covered for and see what the best bang for your buck is. But I just don't understand how you could be loyal customers making payments on time, doing everything right. But when it's time for the good folks to get help, is whatever. But thank you for sharing this topic. I'm listening, and great show today.
Thank you so much for your call, and so sorry that happened that way. Doc Fuller, did you want to comment on that?
Also, they're talking about the stadium. I don't know if they're still taking money out, but we was paying for helping pay for that stadium since the inception. If you looked on your telephone bill, I knew it was a telephone bill, the old bill or whatever, they had a tax that was on there that everybody in Milwaukee County was paying for that stadium. Even if you went to ball games or not.
Yeah, the retractable roof and all that. All of that stuff. That was pricey.
I can understand what the caller was saying is that, man, when if you're an insurance company, if you're an insurance person, I know you want to look out for the company or whatever, but you still got to have a heart for the people that you're serving, man.
Right.
If you can't add value to them, something is missing there.
Well, and there's a diplomatic way to speak to people too, exactly. And that was way out of order.
Oh yeah,
with what she described, I would not be happy with that person either, and I would be in the market for a new agent too. I can't blame her one
Definitely
bit.
Get a new agent.
That's not how you. That is not how you deal with people. And as the insurance expert, she made the point that why didn't he make the recommendations for the additional riders for the coverage that would have protected her at a time like this? Like over all those years, that's something that should have come up. So, but anyway, I do know that we have another caller that is holding. We're talking about a topic that really wasn't even intended to be the top topic of today, but it started the phones ringing right away, and we'll see what the people want to discuss. We're here to provide information to the community and to allow the community to call us and share their thoughts or their questions or comments or concerns about things. And so we definitely want to have an opportunity for people to speak. So looks like there's a couple callers holding back to back. Caller, thank you so much for holding. Please go ahead.
Yes. Good morning. Shall I say morning or afternoon?
Good morning still. Yes, thank you.
Excuse me
it's
for forgetting you because I just clicked in. Attorney, I'm sorry, your name, dear?
Yeah, hi, I'm Attorney Coral. Coral.
Yes.
Yeah.
Attorney Coral.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being back. And who's that gentleman that with you?
The gentleman with me is Dr. Fuller, who is on the board of directors of Columbia Savings and Loan.
Good morning, Dr. Fuller. And how you doing, sir?
Doing great. How you doing, brother?
Okay, my brother.
Good.
Hey, I know this devastating rain that happened quickly and stuff like that caught everybody by surprise, because in some communities they're kind of used to it, but there are certain communities they haven't never seen that before. So what I'm trying to say is, I know the recourse if the certain insurance companies, even though you pay your premium and stuff like that, don't cover it. But the only recourse we used to have was the federal, right? FEMA.
Okay. Yep. FEMA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, FEMA can be another resource. Yes.
That's another resource, but not the only one. But what's happening right now, when it happens like that real quick and move off, and people have experienced flooding and lost almost everything, and they're trying to make it and battle, and certain insurance companies might cover it and certain insurance companies might not. What recourse do they have? And that's my question. And excuse me, I know I'm probably asking something that's impossible and things like that, and you may not have the answer, but we have people out there from everywhere, especially in our community, that experience flooding. They had to get in a line and stuff like that, as you've seen on the TV news and stuff like that, trying to get better stuff that it was very personal to them and stuff like that. And they said, what recourse do we have? Now, I know you may not have the answer, but I appreciate whatever you can do. I appreciate that, and thank you so much for taking my call.
Okay, thank you so much for calling. Doc Fuller, was there something that you wanted to say?
Well, just like everybody else, I know this: if you don't have the right type of insurance, they're not going to pay. And one of the things they was talking about on television on the news yesterday, if your place got flooded and that's your claim, is you have damage because of flood, and you didn't have flood insurance, they're not going to cover it. But one of the things that I heard on the news is that Governor Evers has declared a state of emergency for Milwaukee County, I guess the state of Wisconsin, and he's asking FEMA to come in and see what they can do. And so that's the recourse that the gentleman, the caller was talking about. FEMA might be a resource, but the way FEMA has been kind of like dismantled to a certain extent, that might not even be a recourse now. So we don't know yet, but FEMA is usually, when you have a disaster like we had in the county of Milwaukee, in the state of Wisconsin, FEMA could be a resource if you don't have flood insurance and you don't have the resources to get it back, to repair everything. That's the only suggestion that I would say, and if the state can't handle it, and apparently the state can handle it because they're asking for help.
Right. Okay, so thank you for that. It looks like we do have one more caller that's holding. Caller, thank you so much for waiting. Please go ahead with your comment.
Thank you for your program. I just want to give a comment about, even if you have the right insurance, I've been in my home. Hi, Dr. Fuller and Attorney Coral.
How you doing?
Hello.
Good, thank you. I've been in my home for almost 40 years. I've had pretty much the same insurance. Starts with an A, ends with an F. And I have insurance. The insurance, some things they don't even cover anymore. Wow. We went through this last year. And the things they do cover, like my roof or maybe sewer backup, the deductible is what? $2,000?
Yeah.
$3,000 for a deductible. So yes, I do agree with the other callers. Something has to be done, but what I need to do is like what my dad told me to do: go through an independent insurance agent. A lot of times they give you a better rate. It's not just one of the huge ones. It could be, but it might not. It might be a different one or in a different state. But thank you again for your program. WNOV, you're the best. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your comments. Yeah. So yeah, Doc Fuller, we really, weren't planning even to talk about this, but I'm glad that we are talking about this right now, because we're it deals with money. And we always talk about, bringing, someone in to discuss insurance topics. Jermaine, do we have time for one more before the break, or?
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay. Thank you, caller. Thank you for holding. Please go ahead.
This is Coach. My name is Al Holmes. I'm a former insurance agent.
Okay, it sounds like you got a little bit of an echo in the background, Al. Are you on speakerphone? Can you take us off speakerphone, maybe? Because there's a real echo, so it's a challenge to hear you.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, go ahead. We'll see if we are able to hear.
Well, I've owned a home in Milwaukee for 50 years, and it's been flooded 5 times. When Mayor Norquist was the mayor, he appointed me to MMSD, Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District Planning Committee for the sewer damages. And as I said, I'm a former insurance agent. I wrote my own insurance. When I bought the house, it was not in a floodplain, so I didn't buy flood insurance, but I bought sewer backup insurance just in case. The insurance, as the young lady said, the premium or the deductible is extremely high. Mine is $1,000. The maximum the policy will pay is $5,000.
That's not nothing. That's nothing.
So you wind up with $4,000. My home has been flooded 4 other times. This is the 5th time. I've replaced 3 furnaces, hot water heater 4 times, washer and dryer, refrigerator, freezer, and a lot of furniture. Multiple times, because the city keeps saying this is an act of God. Raining is an act of God, but if you look at the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewers District's plan for the deep tunnel, the deep tunnel was supposed to be the catch-all for all sewer material before it goes to treatment to go be discharged to the lake. Chicago filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Milwaukee years ago because they were discharging untreated water into Lake Michigan, and Chicago was being blamed for it. That was part of the reason for building the deep tunnel. But when they tell you that this was not a flood, by definition, that this was a sewer backup, that means that the Milwaukee people had control and kept the sewers closed and not allowing water to go into the deep tunnel. As a result, it backs up into your home. And that's what the news reported. That's what happened. The sewers were closed to discharging the waste into the deep tunnel. And according to the report, it said that the deep tunnel was only 85% full. Yep. Which means there was room in there for more waste and sewer material, and they kept the sewers closed. As soon as they opened them up, within 40 minutes, all that water left the house. And now you wind up with all this damage and what have you. Trump already said he's not going to allow any money to come out from FEMA for nothing until he can decide how it's done. So the governor going to FEMA right now is going to be useless. The issue is, if the city could control the flow, the city should be responsible and pay for it. But they keep bowing out on it, and the insurance is not going to cover all these people's damages. So that's fact, and that, as I know it.
Wow, so that is very informative.
Yeah.
I'm really appreciate that you called and shared all that background. That's food for thought, for sure. So thank you so much for calling in.
And I called my alderman, and he refuses to return my call.
Oh,
and I've been a resident in his district for 50 years.
Wow.
And that's the kind of representative we have.
Right. Well, I'm not sure what the solutions are to this, because you
find some people to get elected to office who want to represent the people, and not the politicians and not the dollar bill.
Right. All the way from your local alderman, all the way up through the governor
From
and to the White House.
From dog catcher up to the ladder.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So it looks like thank you so much
Have
for
a good
calling.
day.
We do have to take a break, but thank you for calling. We'll be back after the break, more with Money Talks from Attorney Coral and Dr. Mose Fuller. We're back. This is Money Talks with Attorney Coral and Dr. Mose Fuller from the Board of Directors of Columbia Savings and Loan Association. Thank you, Doc Fuller, for being here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me again.
Yeah, we were just talking on the break. My heart goes out, to the people who've called in here this morning, and, the former agent that had been appointed to the MMSO board, and, and he just shared with us some backstories about the deep tunnel and some backdoor politics and all these other things that are going on that I've been educated about some things today. That's what I love about this show. We're here to share information and share knowledge with the people, but I love it when the people call in and share some knowledge and information with me as well. So very grateful for the call, even though I don't have the answers. I don't know what we do. Well, he said we elect some people that are going to be about business. That's what he said. So, Doc Fuller, what office are you going to run for?
Well, I tell you what, and that's what we really need too. You need alderman. If you got an alderman, you want an alderman that's going to fight for you. That's what an alderman does.
Right.
Alderman, the best, a good alderman is an alderman that fight for his constituents. Fight for the people that elected him or her.
Right.
If you're not willing to do that, that's the only criteria for a great alderman, a good alderman. Somebody's going to fight for me.
Right.
Go out there and fight for me no matter how small it is. But if I have a complaint, it's always big in my eyes. That's why I'm talking about it. That's why I'm presenting it to my representative.
Right.
And so the alderman is going to carry my fight, is my concerns, to wherever they need to be carried to with the city. If you got your alderman down now standing, you go downtown, one of the things anybody can do when they go downtown before these committees and make sure that they got their alderman on their side. If he's sitting there with you, they're going to look at the whole situation in a different light. So he was exactly right. If his alderman, he called his alderman and he won't even call him back. Well, of course, I know he's not going to vote for that guy again, whoever it was.
Right.
You just can't do that.
Yeah.
Because you need to be out here fighting for my call.
Right. Yeah, because, I can imagine that older person was flooded with calls this week. I can well imagine.
Yeah.
But somehow I think maybe you have to devise a plan where you either bring in some reinforcements or you do something, but if you can't personally call a person back, you have some support with you that can call back on your behalf. You don't just leave people hanging at a time like this. That's what I would think.
Another thing too, I think August is the month all of the aldermen and county supervisors, I know aldermen, the whole month of August, they're off. They're not even in the office.
Oh, okay.
So that could be a problem. But still, if somebody call you off, somebody got to be in the office.
Right.
Somebody call your office, you got to figure out a way to get back in touch with these people. Especially you got a guy that's been voting in your district for 50 years.
Yeah, living there a long time.
Come on, man.
That's an anchor of the community.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Guy like that care about the community, been there, know the history of the community.
Right.
Been in my house a long time. I know that block.
Right.
I've seen the changes taking place. I know whether the city care about it. I know whether the alderman care about it. I know whether I care about it. Or my neighbor care about it.
Right.
So that's important, and so we need to communicate. We need good representative, good leadership.
Right.
Everything rises and falls on leadership, right?
Yeah. That's right. Speaking of which, so that's a great segue, Dr. Fuller, because we've been talking the last couple of weeks about Columbia Savings and Loan Association, the importance of having community banking, the importance of having a Black bank in the community, and we are it when it comes to the state of Wisconsin. Columbia Savings and Loan Association, 100 years old, about to be 101 soon. But is the only surviving Black-owned bank in the state of Wisconsin. We're very fortunate under the leadership of our president, Mr. Ernest Jones, who, if I had all day, I couldn't say enough good things about. That if Ernie hadn't stepped up and stepped into this leadership role in this bank and I say stepped up and stepped into, but we both know it landed on him as he was not contending for it, but it came his way nonetheless. But I'm glad that he didn't cut and run. He could have, but he didn't. He wouldn't, because that's just not him. But if he hadn't agreed to press forward, this bank would no longer exist.
Wouldn't be here. It wouldn't be. It just wouldn't be here.
Right.
They would.
It's just an absolute fact. So we're here, and we are not only just existing, we are thriving. We are moving everything in the right direction under his leadership and the team that he has assembled. You and he came in at the same time. I always love to hear about how you met in the parking lot, and been stewarding this ship in the right direction ever since.
Leadership is a strange thing, and the way Ernie became the President Jones became the leader, the president of the bank, was just like, he didn't ask for it, wasn't looking for it, wanted somebody else to have it, to take the helm of the bank, but God didn't see it that way.
Right.
He did not see it that way, man. And God said, no, I want you to take it, and with great leaders, there's always that reluctancy, I really don't want it. This is not something I'm seeking, and so God said, no, but you're the one that I want to be in that position.
Right.
And when you look at Columbia Savings and Loan, and the way looking at it from what I know about the bank now, in my experience, I've been affiliated with the bank since 1995. That's how long I've been affiliated with the bank, with money in the bank, with the bank lending our church money, lending me money, and paying the church, paying the money back, and I'm paying the money back. And so I know a little bit about the structure of the institution, and I also know a little bit about how important it is for Columbia Savings and Loan to continue to thrive in the city of Milwaukee. And I know that great leadership is going to make that happen. So at this time in the history of that institution, Attorney Ernest Jones is there. From my perspective, from my view, is because I think that God really wanted him to be there. And he didn't ask for it for some monetary gain or some political gain. No, it was thrust upon him because, quite frankly, with his background and working with the state banking system and understanding regulation, bank regulations and things like that, it was just the perfect fit.
Right.
And if even though he's a young guy in his 40s, even though you're in your 40, young man in your 40s, but you've been working with with those regulations for over institutions for over 20 years.
Right. He started young.
Mm-hmm. And then, then you're an attorney, you're a smart attorney, you understand the law, mm-hmm. And I think with our banking, our bank understanding the law, I told him, I said, man, that is, I know all of us on this board is important, but see, the advantage that you have is that you understand the law, man.
Right.
You understand how that works. You understand the law.
Right.
And you understand what needs to be done in order to keep this bank, not only to help this bank thrive, but to keep it open right now.
Right.
And all of the other black banking institutions that we had, North Milwaukee State Bank, Legacy and all that, they're gone, man. And so this is the only one here. And God got it here for a reason.
Right.
And he put you here, with all of the qualifications of understanding the legal processes of banking and just understanding legal stuff, understanding the law makes a difference.
Right.
Like you're an attorney, you know what I'm talking about. I listen to you, man. I listen to the questions and how you talking. I said, man, this is huge.
Yeah.
Having good qualified attorneys that understand how the system works.
Right.
and what's working against you, and that's important.
Right. And you know, there's another thing that I want to publicly just acknowledge right now as well. We talk about Colombia, and that it's been around more than 100 years now, and so it is my understanding. If anybody calls and knows otherwise, can call and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the oldest Black-owned business in the state of Wisconsin. I believe that it is, and the other two 50 plus year old Black owned businesses in the state of Wisconsin, one WNOV, right, where we are right now, and the other the Milwaukee Courier, so the newspaper, right, both of which owned and operated for what, 50, 60 years. I don't even know, like when it was sometime back in the 1960s, when all of this got started by the late Gerald Jones, who was a leader, a dynamic leader, a pioneer, and all of those things. That we attended his memorial a couple of weeks ago, and every dignitary you can name was there and stood up and spoke on his behalf. But I think a lot of people don't realize that the late Gerald Jones, that his son is Ernest Jones, who is the president of Columbia Savings and Loan Association. So not only did Ernie have the credentials that you just so eloquently spoke about, but he has it in his blood, right? And he had the benefit of learning at his father's foot as a young child, coming to the station, watching his father do business, watching how he handled things, watching how he grew, watching how he honed his own leadership skills, and he soaked it up like a sponge. So, just I just want to go on record and say that it's no coincidence that he is where he is. And you said it all along, it was God, but look at how God maneuvered it from the time he was a young 2-year-old boy following his father around. God had a plan for him even then. Whether he knew it or not, well, he couldn't have. He was a little kid, but he had the advantage of soaking up that knowledge, and and his mom is a tiny petite little woman, but Mrs. Jones is a force to be reckoned with. Always just talk about how what a little petite little lady she is, but man, don't play with her. So she poured into him, and he is her namesake. So between his two parents, there's no wonder why Ernie is who he is and how he is and doing the things that he does. And I can't speak highly enough of him. I always say that, but it's true.
And he's a hard worker.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a hard worker. And you're talking about his father, Gerald Jones. I didn't really know him close up, but I knew him from a distance. And I knew that all the time that I came here in 1969. And when I really, got involved in some of the workings of the city, you would always hear about the leadership, in the Milwaukee Courier, WNOV, and during that time, they didn't have a lot of Black representation at City Hall, in the county government, in state government, but you heard about people that was like a Gerald Jones and what they were, what they were saying and what they were doing. So coming to this city when I was 17 in the late 60s, early 69 in the 70s, when the struggle was really real struggle, in Milwaukee, hardly any representation downtown in City Hall. And so the Black community was really an island, so to speak. The people didn't really want to invest in that, in the community. They just had the riots in 67. And then after that thing really just, went downhill. But you had people out like Gerald Jones out there talking about what need to be done. What real leadership looks like. What real leadership in the community look like. What the Black community really have to do. We always have to take a stand. We have to take a stand, like we're taking a stand right now with Columbia Savings and Loan. The leadership in Columbia Savings and Loan right now refuse to cave in, refuse to concede territory. We don't want to give up no territory. We're in a we're moving forward. We don't want to give up nothing. You know, we look at the other black institution that lost ground. That's not going to be our legacy. That's not going to be our vision. That's not going to happen to us. So that's our fight. That's our struggle. And every week that we come on, you know, when you have a community like the black community now in the city of Milwaukee, it's not a community that is at a disadvantage, so to speak, as it was in the 60s and 70s. I mean, we have a powerful force. We have the numbers. We have the numbers to actually take what we want, demand what we want, and get it. But we got to be organized. We've got to move with a purpose, especially financial. When finances, our mindset have to change when it comes to how we look at money, how we count our money, how we spend our money, who we spend our money with, where we invest our money, where we place our money. You know, for me as a pastor and a leader in this community, I'm going to make sure that I have some of my money at Columbia Savings and Loan.
That's right.
I mean, that's just a fact.
Right.
You know, you want to diversify your money too. You want to, you have every serious black person in this city of Milwaukee that have any type of finances should make sure that they have some of their finances in a black institution. That's just sane struggle as it relates to moving forward or leaving a legacy in the city of Milwaukee. You know, Milwaukee has a reputation of black folks being the worst is the worst place for black folks to live and all of that stuff. You know, and that's only because of the way we make decisions. You know, we got money, we got population, we got clout, we got power, but we got to use it. We definitely have voting power.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love it.
We gotta vote.
You mentioned that last week too. When we come back from the break, we'll talk more about that. But yeah, you said it last week. It's not that we don't have money; it's a matter of how we spend it, what we do with our money. So mindset. Thanks for those comments. We will be right back after the break with more Money Talks with Attorney Coral and Dr. Mose Fuller with me today. Welcome back. This is Money Talks with Attorney Coral. Jermaine and Dr. Fuller are we're having a good time, and we're laughing because Jermaine said I could bring you back right away, and I said, well, let her say money. Let her say money first before we come back. So as soon as Cardi B said money, then I had to jump in because money answereth all things, right, Doc?
That's right.
That's my scripture for the day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that one I know. So so we were talking though, about the bank and some of the challenges of Black banking, some of the things that we talked about, and topics that still we haven't really had a chance to touch. But you wanted to talk about the one dealing with marketing. So in other words, making people aware of the existence of the bank. So what did you want to say about all of that, Doc?
One of the things about it is the marketing and the awareness gap. Awareness gap. Then it could be that in our community, a lot of Black folks in this community, and I know that's the case, don't even know that there is a Black bank. One, maybe they knew that there were more than one at one time, but in 2025, there's just one. And one of the things that's interesting in that statement is that, look what it says. Many people simply don't know where or how to bank Black. You hear that?
That's a mouthful.
It is. They don't know where. And some people where is Columbia Savings and Loan? Where is it? Is it in the city of Milwaukee? Well, how long has it been here? Some people are still asking those questions.
Okay, so to those people, we are at 2020 West Fond du Lac Avenue in Milwaukee, 53205. That's right on the corner. Well, it's that diagonal corner where 20th Street meets Fond du Lac Avenue meets North Avenue. So Fond du Lac and North Avenue, 2020 West Fond du Lac Avenue. And the phone number to the bank is 414-374-0486. 414-374-0486. I figured I'll answer that question.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut you off, Doc, but we're gonna make a basic. They're gonna ask a basic question. I had a basic answer. So go ahead.
Then the other part of that is how to bank Black. And then the latter part of the statement is due to limited national marketing and exposure. How to bank Black. For me, the founders of Columbia Savings and Loan, they came up with an answer to that question. And the answer was you have banking institutions that is supposedly there to really lend money to people that qualified to receive the money. Yeah, but what was happening, people that qualified to receive money from other banking institutions, they didn't do it. They didn't have access to the loans and things like that. So then the Halyards came in with a visionary idea, a visionary mission. Look, since folks don't want to lend us money, we're gonna start our own bank. We're gonna start a Black bank.
The audacity.
Yeah. Really, that's what it is.
Right. That's what it took.
The audacity to go out here and do something that's going to help a whole lot of folks that's coming to this community, coming to this city, but at the same time being denied the very thing that they need in order to have a prosperous life.
Right.
And so then they started this institution. So how to bank Black? How to bank Black? The way you bank Black is when everybody else, you don't have equal access, if you don't have equal opportunity with other institutions, and you have a black bank that's there to kind of like equalize things, that's how you bank Black. And then you got to change your mindset. A lot of times, some people they only want to spend their money with other folks.
Yeah,
not with Black folks.
Right.
I'm I do not only do I do insurance, but I also help people with mutual funds and things like that also.
Okay.
And so what happened then, to kind of like get some Black folks to invest money with you is a fight.
Yep.
Do we have a caller?
Yep, we do, but don't finish your thought.
It's a fight, it's a challenge, man.
Right.
And so that's the same thing with black banking.
Mm-hmm.
How do I bank with the way you bank with a black bank? You go there.
Right.
You go there and find out what that bank is doing. You go there and find out how that bank can add value to you.
Right. Right.
As a person that live in that community.
Yes.
That's what Milwaukee needs.
Yeah.
See, it's nothing, all of the talk about Milwaukee, black folks in Milwaukee don't have money. I don't agree with that at all.
Right.
Because I'm ride through this city and I see all of these businesses that's open in the black community. Right. And I see black folks going to them all day.
Spending money.
Somebody said black folks are running in and out of these stores all day spending money.
Yeah.
These little old liquor stores on the corner up here. They got one up here is a bucket of blood up on 11th and Atkinson. Folks are running in and out of that place all day, hanging around the place, man.
Yeah. So let's see. Do we have time to get to the last caller there? Do we have a minute? Okay. Caller, please go ahead. You're going to close us out. We got 20 seconds.
Yeah, I just have a brief question. Is the bank FDIC insured?
Yes, we are. Yeah. Thank you for having a quick question. Yes, Columbia is FDIC insured. Thank you so much for your question. Okay, but it looks like that's the end of our show today. Dr. Fuller, thank you so much. Yeah, the hour goes by fast because you and I have so much fun. So thanks everyone for listening to the Money Talk Show. We'll be back next week. Have a great week, and we'll be back next Thursday at 11.